I've been wanting to do this video for a little while now, and the video really stems down to one question. Why are cards like this? Why are cards like Van Gogh Pikachu in a PSA 10 continuing to rise in price? That surely makes no sense. And that's exactly the topic, of course, we're going to explore in this video. Why do cards like this, and we can probably include lots of cards in this subject, 151 Charizard, Lugia from Silver Tempest, just to name a couple more. Why do cards like that have incredibly high PSA 10 populations continue to surge up in price? Really, really important question. Some really, really important mechanics when it comes to investing and economics in this video. It's probably going to be a little bit more of an advanced video. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Michael, PokeYodds. We talk all things Pokemon card investing on this channel. A couple of big shout outs to start off with. There is new merch for PokeYodds, so you can jump on the links below. There'll be a link in the description to grab yourself some PokeYodds, pop it on the telly merch. And also, of course, a big shout out to today's video sponsor, which is the Collector app. If you haven't used the Collector app, you need to get on board. It is so good for both your collecting and investing needs. So there'll be a link in the description for that one. Right, let's jump straight into the video. So Van Gogh Pikachu, a little bit of background behind it. It, in the last 12 months, has gone gangbusters, both in a raw price and a PSA 10 price. If we look at the raw price here, it has gone from $313 US to $776 US in the last 12 months. But the big one is its PSA 10 population. It just continues to rise. If we have a look at the stats here, it has over 47,000 PSA 10 copies. And market price on PSA 10s are still holding over 2,500 US dollars. How on earth does that work? A couple other examples. 151 Charizard, it has over 26,700 copies in a PSA 10. And what do you know? It's continuing to surge in price. I also mentioned the Lugia from Silver Tempest. That has over 20,000 PSA 10 copies. Even the Umbreon EX from Evolving Skies is nudging on 20,000 PSA 10 copies. Moreover than that, probably our most recent big chase card, which has phenomenal artwork, is the Mega Charizard from Phantasmal Flames. This is already in a couple of months. This set has been out a couple of months. It is already over 11,000 PSA 10 copies. So, what makes these cards worth money? That is the big question. What is the economics driving this? It's a really, really interesting topic. Moreover than that, it's this relationship between vintage and modern, isn't it? And even mid-era Pokemon, where we have some very, very low populations. And I guess we have it in our head that low population equals price. And look, I'm a massive believer in that. Like, for argument's sake, if 151 Charizard had 267 copies in a PSA 10 rather than 26,700 copies in a 10, it's going to be worth more. Trust me on that. If Umbreon EX from Evolving Skies, rather than having 20,000 copies, had 20 PSA 10 copies, it's going to be worth a whole lot more. So don't get me wrong. Low population of a very, very popular card, and that's an important point, very, very popular card, fan favorite Pokemon with good artwork, that's what drives the price of the card. Low population will be worth more. However, that doesn't answer the question though, why are these really high population cards still surging in price? And there's a few things behind it. Here's reason number one, right? And this is the most important one in my opinion. That demand is still outweighing supply. That's a pretty simple answer to the question. So let's unpack it a little bit more. And I think there's more parts to this, and this is the important bit I really wanted to touch on. There's total supply of PSA 10 cards. So let's work off Van Gogh Pikachu. There is over 47,000 PSA 10 cards. That's total supply of the cards. But the other question, which is probably more important to driving the price, is what is the available supply? Or what is the market supply? So what is actually for sale right now on the market? What is available? And that's the really important one. This is really the one that is driving pricing at the moment. It creates this, if you have a low available supply, so we might have 40,000 copies total, but there might only, at any given moment across TCG Player, eBay, Facebook private sales, there might only be 60 of these cards for sale. That's the available supply. And that creates this artificially tight market or artificially small market. Because what you've got to remember when it comes to total supply versus available supply is a lot of the total supply is going to be locked up and not sold. Why? Because there's still people that collect these cards. Not everyone is in it just to flip them and make money. A lot of these cards do get locked away for a long time in collections, and sometimes it's not just one copy. I mean, we all know the story about, the famous Gary, of course. He went on Pawn Stars back in 2016 or whatever, with his first edition Charizard collection. We all know he has a huge monopoly, I suppose, on the total supply of PSA 10 first edition Charizards. So that can happen. Collectors lock them away and want them as part of their collection for a long time, which means there's a smaller amount on the available market. And that can be given true, not just Van Gogh Pikachu, that can be deemed true for any card. It can be deemed true for even the Mega Charizard from Phantasmal Flames that's just come out. Okay, there's over 11,000 copies. And generally speaking, you know what happens a lot of the time when people first grade these cards? They'll want to be first to market. Like they'll pull this Charizard, they'll quickly rush it off with express grading, hope to get it back so there's low supply, none on the market, and then they can sell it for like $5,000, $6,000 straight out of the gate. We know the card's not going to be worth that because as supply increases, there's going to be more and more in the market for sale, and therefore total supply on the market is greater, so we start seeing a reduction in price, which is what we've seen with Phantasmal Flames Charizard. As more and more supply hits the market, the price of it has come down. But that's not to say that this card can't have crazy spikes. Let's say, for argument's sake, there's hundreds of people, collectors and investors, that want that card as part of their collection, and there's just none on the market for sale. And those hundreds of people or thousands of people have been waiting for weeks to snavel up this card, and then finally one goes on the market at auction. It's going to achieve incredibly high prices, even though the total volume of them keeps going up. So that is the most important point, I think, when we talk about a lot of these cards, whether it's 151 Charizard, Lugia from Silver Tempest, the Van Gogh Pikachu, it's that relationship between total supply and available supply. Available supply is what's driving the pricing of a lot of these cards. The second thing when it comes to a lot of cards, and this probably rings true more so for Van Gogh Pikachu, but probably even for 151 Charizard, it's not just a card for some people. It's particularly with Van Gogh Pikachu, it's like this cultural crossover, isn't it? You've got one of the most famous artists that the Earth's ever seen, and you've got Pikachu. It's like old meets new, this clash of two cultures coming together, creating a piece of art. And that's why I think a lot of people want to lock it away as part of their collection. If you have a PSA 10, of course, that's the most coveted prize when it comes to that collection. And I think we could almost say the same for 151 Charizard. That's why I think a lot of base set first edition Charizards are worth so much, because it's not just a card. It's a piece of culture, it's a piece of history, it's a piece of artwork. And you could say the same for 151 Charizard because it's almost like old meets new. It's this original 151, this whole like reset of base set, or the first sets of Pokemon that come out, this reiteration of the original 151, plus it's Charizard, who's one of the mascots of the set. Now, the third thing that I don't think we can escape from when it comes to the prices of these cards is FOMO. You cannot forget that. Unfortunately, that can rapidly increase the price of a lot of cards, and it can create some sort of artificial price point where everyone goes, well, I better grab it before it's gone. I better grab it before it goes to $1,000. I better grab it before it goes to $1,100. I better grab it before it goes to $1,200. And it just creates this staircase up, and the price just keeps increasing. So FOMO is definitely one we can't keep off the cards. And the final point I wanted to touch on as to why these keep going up in price, even though the PSA 10 populations are so high, is they are liquid. These cards are easy to sell. You have a PSA 10 of a sort of no-name card, it's probably going to be hard to move. These have huge market caps. There's lots of volume going through. They're very liquid. You put them at auction, they will sell. You don't particularly need to be from a golden auctions to sell these cards. If you've got 120 feedback, 100% feedback on eBay, you could put one of these cards up and achieve market price. You put up with 80 feedback at 100%, which is still pretty good feedback on eBay, a first edition base set Charizard, everyone's going to go, who's selling that? They've only got 80 feedback, even though it's 100%. I don't know if I trust it that much. You know, I'd rather buy off golden auctions where it's been authenticated and there's no risk of it being a fake if I'm going to transfer over that much money. So there you go. They are a lot more liquid. They're very easy to sell, and this will drive investors to buy them because they know in the future that they're going to be easy cards to sell. Well, there you have it. There's 4 points in my opinion, and I think it's quite an important Pokemon investing session we've gone through in this one with some, I suppose, market and investing tips inside there. That's my thoughts on why these high population PSA 10 cards are still continuing to rise in price. Thank you so much everyone for tuning into the channel. Your support means a lot. Can't wait to chat to you on the next one. I'm Michael, Pokey Oz. Catch you everyone next time.